Hey guys, I'm going to be covering a lot of stuff in this video. This is basically going to be a huge overview or how to play the clan deck, particularly my deck as well with the burst style. So this is a clan slash burst style deck, like guide essentially. I'm going to be going through like turn by turn what to do, what not to do, and some of the matchup things that you should be worried about. I just want to give a shout out to Weltem in Ray Knight's Discord and Ray Knight obviously for asking for this and being interested in it. Him and his wife watch my videos and are learning clan together and watching G-Quox. I love G-Quox, so hopefully you guys are also enjoying it. It's like one of the best Gundam series I've seen, and it's definitely one of my favorites. Moving on to the actual information that I'll be sharing with you guys here and how to play the deck is turn by turn. So immediately let's start with mulligans. Okay, you are always hard mulliganing again for the Shurgai's Gelgoog. Some people might think that I have a pretty good hand in close combat, a Red Gundam, a Machu, and a Schoolgirl, and let's say another Red Gundam, or honestly any card you can think of, maybe a good like high-end card. Okay, you do not want to keep this hand. You are mulliganing so that you can find the Sugai's Gelgoog immediately because it is the most important card to find to stabilize the early game or to apply any sort of pressure into the blocker decks or any deck in particular. It's really, really nice, okay? You can also choose to play this card and then next turn you can choose to not play multiple cards and put a Suji Ito onto it so you can just attack, or if you have multiple Machus in your hand, put a Machu onto it, see if you can draw an extra card, and then swing. I like to put Suji onto it so I can swing and then keep cycling through my deck to up my chances of getting the good cards that I want to get. Speaking about good cards, we are going to be talking about Schoolgirl. Schoolgirl is going to be the card that we play to go find all of our cards. And the cards that we're trying to look at are the cards that get us more cards. Would you look at that? So we have these four cards right here. These cards give us plus ones, aka like they're kind of like our short resolves. So we play Schoolgirl. Our main targets to go find, besides the Sugai's Gelgoog in the early game, this is like an automatic pickup always, is going to be either the first strike if we have the Machu in our hand and we want to grab a first strike in a particular matchup, or just because we have lots of Machus. So this is on the lowest of the list to go find. The next card to go find is the big level 8 G-Quux because it's our end game monster. It will basically finish the game for us. It also deals 3 damage to our opponent when it comes in, finishing off anything that has high amount of HP or a leftover like Freedom Gundam or just Rick Doms, Rick Diaz, Anxas, basically anything our opponent kind of like put out there, it's going to eat up and feel really good about. Then we have our level 7 G-Quux from Gd03. This card is going to go get us another card for free, and it's really, really powerful. And our opponent is going to know that we have this from Schoolgirl, and thus he's going to be kind of pressured to either end the game quicker or know that just because we have 4 cards left, we actually have 5 because this will go grab us another card. So these are our targets, and then Machu, obviously, being a pilot is important because she can link with the first strike when we eventually draw it. This is another reason why this is on the lowest priority list because showing Machu in our hand and showing that we got it from Schoolgirl is fine. Showing the first strike we got from our hand is almost like a bluff half the time because our opponent will assume that we have first strike ready to go, so they will not play their Amoro or tap their Amoro or Kira and stuff like this. They'll play other cards, and so that happens. So we want to basically, if we have this card, don't get it off Schoolgirl. Don't reveal that we have this because then your opponent will understand that we're trying to get a first strike hit off and play around it essentially. But Machu also gets a +1, and this card is not strong without Machu because it requires a clan to be on the board and it requires it to be linked with Machu in particular. But these are the cards we're getting for more value. Our deck is all based around getting high end value, which is why we do not play the level 1 units like GMs, the Snake Eyes, because those cards will eventually die, and most of the time when they die, they don't trade 1 for 1, right? The only time they trade 1 for 1 is in an aggro matchup, so we don't want to use that card in any other matchup besides aggro, and even when we play into the aggro matchup, it can still get picked up by Rick Dom or something else later on, or Amuro Ray. Like it will basically just be a -1, and we rather have a higher top or like middle of the pack, and because we want to be able to keep up with all of the other decks and kind of leave the aggro matchup to a decent chance for us to win it, but not a we're going to win it, because no deck in the game can always come down and say we're going to beat aggro 100% of the time. They basically always end up losing. But I think the burst style decks in particular have the highest chance to beat it outside of the whole blocker slop. But we've seen blocker decks completely fail because if they do have amoro, or the like the nuts basically, you're gonna lose no matter what. If you give the aggro player whatever cards they need, doesn't matter. You can draw your whole deck as a blocker player, and I've done this in testing. It doesn't matter what you have against an a above average or average aggro hand, you will still lose the game because they have the outs that they need to get around your blockers, and they're playing more cards than you. So what they cannot control is your shield area, and the shield area really does impact and play extra cards that impact the game. So you draw your normal cards, but then you have extra cards in your shields that will just simply slow them down and play cards for you, and then you don't have to waste your turn playing a close combat. You can instead play a blocker on your turn. You can play Gelgu, you can play a Link on your turn, and kill multiple things, and have a good time. Also, the shield burst will help us kill an active unit before it gets to take out another shield, basically, almost acting like a base. Um, which is really important. One thing to cover about bases before we move any further, since we're on the topic, is the reason why the deck doesn't play bases, and you can if you want to. I'm not saying you don't like you have to copy my deck 1-to-1, but the reason we don't play bases is because our opponent attacks our shield. Okay, he attacks our shield. We get a base. We draw the card into our hand. Okay, we draw close combat into our hand. Cool. Pretend this is a GM. Okay. Now, instead of it being a base, it could have been a close combat, and the close combat would have killed the GM, and the base would have been gone, killed the GM. If they have two active units, one of them attacks, it hits the base, and the close combat would kill the standing GM, saving us life points, okay, or shields. In the other example, they pop the base, and then they have a standing unit. Now, it cannot kill the shield area, but in most circumstances, the opponent is going to have, like, good aggro players will have amoro or a 6 attack power unit in their hand waiting, or a Link for the base to pop up, and they'll take it on in one go. So almost you guys can start counting this if you guys want, but most of the time when you have a base up, it does not get hit twice. It gets hit once and it dies, which means that a shield has 1 HP, the base effectively has 1 HP because it got hit a single time and just 1 away. So the HP of the base was almost irrelevant. And aggro decks by default are designed to counter or play around, like, they have to have answers for any defensive mechanisms that exist in the game, aka bases, unforeseens, like high HP units, blockers. They need to find ways around all the defensive mechanisms, bypass all of it, and kill you. That's how the deck is built, which means that if we're looking for any ways to defend ourselves, the aggro deck has already thought about that and bypassed it. So if you're gonna play a base, you want to play it once you've seen that, okay, they play an amoro Link, you kill the Gundam. Now they most likely don't have a second one, and so you play a base, right? And then hopefully they don't have another one. But good players will just simply go wide on you, and we don't have in the clan deck a lot of interaction outside of our burn spells, okay? Which is obviously we're playing red here, but other decks don't have a lot of interaction against aggro decks, and then the aggro deck kind of goes wide, and then it takes out the shield in one go or with multiple units, and you end up dying from that. The other thing is, if we can assume that the base will die in one shot, it's much better that these will both die in one hit. I'd rather play the close combat and kill something and take it with me and play a free card, rather than a card going to my hand, then I have to use mana on my own turn to play it, requiring me resources when I can just activate the burst ability, which says play this card for free, a lot stronger, okay? So we need to play more cards / the same amount of cards as the aggro player to keep up with them and then ultimately overtake them in the later stages of the game. Sometimes this can happen really quickly because of how many bursts you hit in a row. So that is why the burst style decks operate in the way that they do, because we are trying to keep up with the amount of cards being played by the aggro deck and by other decks as well. Okay, now moving past the base, going back to Schoolgirl. let's get on my resources. Turn 1. Let's use the EX resource. Okay? Turn 1, we play. So you always want to go second in Gundam. There's no such thing as going first in Gundam because the game is based around levels and the EX resource is very, very strong. There's one finite example of when going first is more powerful, and that is when you are going to play a one cost unit or that one cost card, most likely a unit, and it's going to heavily impact your second turn, which means you need a combo. The only example of this is playing Adopt turn 1 and then playing a Gd03 Sleeps turn 2. Adopt has 1 power, Gd03 Sleep comes in, supports the DOP immediately, and it swings for 3 and takes out the EX base. This is the only example that I've like thought of and I played in Gd01 and won tournaments with, where going first was powerful because you actually had a way to utilize it. Okay, talking about a resource and all this thing and one more card. The one more card is a lie. I'm not going to talk about this anymore. This is a clan focus video. So just understand you always want to go first in Gundam, and going first is the best thing to do. And as a clan deck, you want to go first for sure because we need level 3 to play our Sugai's Gelgoog as fast as possible. All right, so we can defend ourselves and keep ourselves alive. Okay, so that is that. Now, turn 1, we play Schoolgirl. We find these cards that we're looking for. Doesn't matter which one, these are the best options in particular order, and you're going to basically grab one of these. Those are our best options, and then you pick up anything else you can. Cool. Now, moving on to turn 2. Turn 2, we play the Sugai's Gelgoog, which is obviously the #1 option to grab with Schoolgirl because it's an early game card. One thing to understand about mulligans and your opening hands is don't freak out if you do not have Sugai's Gelgoog. You start the game with 3, 4, 5 cards. On turn 1, you go to 6 cards. If you do not see it, it does not matter because on your first turn, you cannot play the Sugai's Gelgoog. It only matters if you have Sugai's Gelgoog on the turn you can play it. So the longest you can wait to actually draw this card is on turn when you have 3 resources up. So going second, that is on your second turn. So you're going to have to go through your first 7 cards to see this, which possibly could include Schoolgirls to go and grab it, okay? So don't be too worried about it at all. In some games, you're not going to see it. It's not the end of the world. You have close combat and other cards, and you have shields. So in non-burst style decks, when you have a brick hand or very very unfavored hand, it's not the end of the world because you can still rely on your shields slowing your opponent down and playing cards for you so that you can kind of stabilize a bit and still gives you a chance rather than knowing the game is over immediately. That's why playing burst is also useful. So we go to turn 2, we play Sugai's Gelgoog. That's our best play. Awesome. Now we get to our next turn. Turn 4. That's an EX resource. We get to turn 4. Here's what we need to understand about turn 4. Turn 4, we want to play a red Gundam. Okay, the most common play, which is combating aggro in particular, is to link it with Tsuji Ito and swing into the rested units and take them out. Into blocker decks, we can again link Tsuji Ito with red Gundam, swing, and they will not block us because their blockers do not have the attack power to take it out, and we can take out their blocker in 1 attack with 4 attack power. We also get to now look at the top card of our deck, see what it is, a red Gundam, keep it at the top or keep it at the bottom, and put it at the bottom or keep it at the top. And we're going to be basically going to go look for our cards that we want and dig through our deck for our good cards like Red Gundam or Schoolgirl or one of the cards I mentioned earlier that get us more pluses and more value. Okay, so this is what makes clan really, really effective is we can kind of look through our deck, put the bad cards to the bottom, put the good cards into our hand, and we never have like bad cards in our hand essentially unless we just draw into them. So much more consistent. Now, this is where things get a little bit tricky, okay? If we make this play, we need to be aware of what our opponent can do to counter us. The 2 biggest things at this current moment are going to be like amoro link, lock on link if reversing CB, and Kira Ale Strike link or some sort of Kira like Sword Strike link, okay? What you need to be aware of is how do we play around these cards? Well, It's pretty easy. What you want to do is not do this, okay? If you play Red Gundam on this turn, you will have two resources open. With those two resources, our powerful cards called Battle Aces and Close Combat are now available. What happens is they will Armor Ray, tap a Red Gundam, attack into Red Gundam, take 3 damage. We can now use our resource and EX, or if we went first, our two resources to play close combat and kill them. If they play lock on, they will heal the life back, so we cannot kill them immediately. So that's an issue, obviously, which is why lock on is like kind of really hard to deal with, being 6 HP and is kind of strong. Um, but this also adds up to 5, and we can basically play this next turn to get rid of the lock-on if we want to. The good thing about lock-on is that it doesn't get to repair if it doesn't deal damage or doesn't kill a unit. Why is this important? Because we can allow the lock-on to start attacking into our shield area, activating our burst cards, reducing lock-on's total HP, then finish it off with a command card from our hand, getting rid of the lock-on. That is what we're trying to do. But against Armor Ray, we will have these two on the board. They will tap Red Gundam, attack into it. They'll take 3 damage. And then we can play Close Combat to finish off the Armor Ray, or we can play Battle Aces to finish it off and be happy with ourselves. So now they lose a very powerful link for basically a normal beater with a single spell from our hand that's most likely oriented towards the early game. And I would use Close Combat before I use Battle Aces because Battle Aces deals more damage, is more useful in combination with our 3 damage spells than it is with our 2 damage spells, basically. Okay, so by the way, guys, this is my second take because for some reason it stopped recording and recorded nothing. And so I had to redo this, and now my voice is going away. And just letting you guys know in case I sound raspy or anything, second take. So kind of have to go through it faster slash recycle all of it again, which I don't like doing. Okay, so that is that. Now, what do? We do not play anything on this turn instead, because we understand that we can get Armor Raid, we can get all these options can happen to us. Ale Strike in particular, we don't have to worry about because any of these Ale Strike cards, they cannot rest our units and will not kill us. The worst thing that can happen is they play Ale Strike, they bounce Red Gun into our hand, no big deal. We don't go down on cards, we just replay it. And it's also actually better because they bounce us. Now on our next turn, when we go to 4 resources, we can play Close Combat Battle Aces together to get rid of the Ale Strike. We can also do this to Armor Ray Gundam. We can do this to anything in the game because basically everything has 5 HP at this point in the game. And it's most important to also, if they're going to, let's say the Gelgoog is still here, right? They're going to play now Armor Ray Gundam on turn 4. They're going to tap our unit. They're going to declare the attack. Because we did not decide to play our Red Gundam and use up our resources, we now have 4 mana open, and we are actually going to make the decision against people who are playing blue or anything like this, and play Close Combat Battle Aces on their turn, basically making their turn go to waste by they use all their mana and resources to play Amore Gundam, a powerful pilot, a powerful link. They were trying to kill our unit, get a +1 on us. We are going to Close Combat Battle Aces in their turn and nullifying their turn. So now they just basically took a really strong link out of their hand, just deleted it, and we took out 2 of our Battle Aces and our Close Combats. Not a big deal. And now our Gelgoog survives, and it's going to swing again next turn, or stay stationary because we don't want to get Armor Raid, because we no longer have these cards, or we don't want to get Ale Striked and then swung into because we are rested. As long as we stay standing, the Ale Strike cannot hurt us. So just understand this is how you want to be playing this deck in particular, and this is one of our strongest things in the game, or not in the game, but in our deck, to play as a combo piece to deal with those powerful links. This also works against Kshatriya, Unicorn, all these decks. You're going to see more Unicorns. So just hold these. When they try to Unicorn combo you, you go, hey, you attacked me. I'm going to play Close Combat, Battle Aces, kill Unicorn, kill Bandager. Now you can put Bandager into your hand, but you cannot Unicorn combo me. So now you got to wait till level 7 to play your big Unicorn, not on this turn. Sorry, sir. Okay, so that's how you want to use Close Combat and Battle Aces, which is also why you play so many of them. They're really, really strong. And this is the art of like doing nothing essentially I teach to my clients. You don't need to do anything. The more you do, the more your opponent knows how you're playing your deck, the more your opponent understands what is available, what is not available. Just leave your mana open, let them walk straight into the close combat battle aces. If they don't do anything because they understand you're holding it, then now you can, next turn get more resources and continue to get to the late game. Our job is to get to the late game as healthy as possible, or with as many resources as possible, is what I should actually say. You want to allow your opponent to play cards or attack your shields, no problem, as long as you have units on the board, or as long as you can out their powerful link units without losing most of your cards, because your Gelgoog will still provide value later on. It's also another reason why, let's say we don't have the close combat and battle aces in our hand. What we can do is they tap the Gelgoog, they attack the Gelgoog, they kill it. We now are going to play the Red Gundam and link it with Tsuji Ito and take out, because their Gundam's going to have 1 damage on it from attacking into our Gelgoog. It takes 3, it repairs 2, goes to 1. It is rested. We will now link, swing into it. It deals 4, takes it out. We take 5, we survive. Okay, this is another reason why you don't want to play the Red Gundam out just willy-nilly, because you want to be playing around your opponent's turns. Whenever you're playing against a deck, think of what are their most powerful turns, right? So Wing Gundam is like Wing Gundam turn 6, Death Scythe turn 6, Wing Zero turn 8, Ale Strike turn 5, Gundam Amuro turn 4. So be aware of these turns. Try to play around their turns. Do not let them get the most value out of their strongest turns. And then try to have a out by that time that, hey, I'm saving these cards because when he does play his strongest turn, I'm going to basically be in a better position because I dealt with the problem immediately, or I had a counter to the problem that they're representing, and it's gonna be really good. If you play Gelgoog and you play Red Gundam together and they kill the Red Gundam, the issue is that even if you link Tsuji Ito onto your Gelgoog now, your Gelgoog only has 5 HP and it will basically trade with the Gundam Amuro instead of surviving with 1 HP like it would with Red Gundam. They also will not expect this play most of the time, so just be aware this is a way that you can increase your chances of beating the Amuro decks in particular, or even Lock On, because Lock On will kill Gelgoog, and Gelgoog will die. Gelgoog will leave 1 damage on your opponent. Now you can basically link it with Machu instead if you want to either play a Gelgoog or play a different card. Link it with Machu, take out their unit, and then trade essentially, or play close combat battle aces and take out their lock on. But the other way of dealing with it is, like I said, let them hit your shield area and let the shield area burst, deal damage to lock on. Now he goes up to 3 damage because of close combat. Now you can play a simple battle aces from your hand and finish it off. No big deal. Okay, now going back to turn 2 and turn 3, we're gonna play. So we play Schoolgirl, we found our Gelgoog. Turn 2, right? Turn 2, we found Gelgoog. Turn 3 comes around. We decide to play Red Gundam. Or we don't, we keep it. On turn 4 comes around, we decide to play 2 Red Gundams immediately, or we can, this is the most powerful thing, is to play 2 units in Gundam. So you play 2 units, very powerful, cool. But we can hold those cards back to hold close combat battle aces in our hand. So if our opponent does play Armor Ray and all those things, we can kind of kill them in our opponent's turn. And then we can, moving forward, play our 2 cards. Okay, now, what happens if we're playing into an aggro deck and we play Gelgoog, Red Gundam, Red Gundam? Okay, we're happy with this? Sure. What happens? What happens is our opponent is going to now try to attack into our shield area. He has 2 GMs or something. He's going to attack into our shield area. Now, we know that we have close combat in our hand. We can use close combat and get rid of something. Do we want to do that? The answer is no. Why? Because before we start using our own cards and get rid of their units, we want to utilize our shield area first and see what are we going to get in this game. Are we going to get a lot of bursts early on? Are we not going to get a lot of bursts? Do we need to use the cards that are available to us at all times, being in our hand? Let's play the RNG slot machine a little bit and find out how to play clan and burst style decks better. The way we do this is you pretty much let them hit your shield area. Okay. Red Gundam, nothing happens. You let them hit shield area again, schoolgirl, nothing happens. So if nothing is happening, it's going to be really bad, which means you need to start upping the amount of cards you play. But if we do this again, and all of a sudden they hit battle aces, so they swing at us, battle aces kills a unit, boom, gone. Okay, let's say they just played a bunch of units that are standing already. Then they're going to play a unit, they're going to kill our shield. Now battle aces can attack their standing unit and finish it off, getting rid of it, while our Red Gundam can swing into their GM, taking out the GM that we can actually interact with. One of the scary things is we cannot interact with our opponent's standing units in clan outside of the command cards to deal damage. So we need to utilize our burst cards to deal with those units that they might have played or gotten off of like Corsica bases and so on. Alright, so moving on from that, we go to our next turn. Once we get to our future turns, everything kind of streamlines out pretty fine, and we want to look at our big units. One of the things you might be asking yourself is if we're not playing units early game because we're holding all of our cards in our hand, giving our opponent less information about what we're trying to do or what we have in our hand possibly, whether we have links or burn spells or multiple units. By the time turn 7 comes around, what we're going to be doing is basically just playing our Omega G-Quox here, and this leaves us with 2 mana open. So this might summon us a Red Gundam. We have 2 resources open, so we always want to try and keep a second Red Gundam in our hand to combo with the Omega Sakamu, or hold a Gelgoog in our hand to play it. The other thing that is powerful at this current time is if we play the Omega Agats's G Gundam, or Red Gundam, we now have 2 resources still open, which we are going to use to play our Suji Link and our Machu Link. Okay, I don't know where my Machu went, but there it is. So this is our big turn, and this is what you want to be holding your cards for, looking to do at this specific time. If you start the game with these 2 cards in your hand, understand that this is a combo you can use on turn 7, especially if you're going first, because you will not be worried about using your EX resource and using it early or not. You can just simply put it down and have everything open. Otherwise, it will grab you whatever card it does, and you can basically utilize your pilots to equip both units that you would get with the Omega Sakamu and link them both and then swing both together, and it works out really, really well. One other thing we can do is if we understand that we are going to do a Machu link at any point, I highly suggest that you do not play Suji Ito out just because you can link and attack into something with Red Gundam and so on. What you want to do with Suji Ito is play Suji Ito onto a unit that you might attack with, or let's say you have that Gelgoog in play already. Put Suji Ito onto the Gelgoog later into the game. Attack your opponent only to see what the top of your deck is. It's a battle aces, so you'll put it to the bottom. And then you'll play Machu on the second unit and hit a Red Gundam. Go straight to your hand. So what you're trying to do with Suji Ito is more so combo with Machu and make sure that this card hits. The other way to use it is you're going to level 7. So here we are, level 7. Well, what do? We have our Gelgoog, we have our Suji Ito. We're going to attack our opponent. Look at the top card. It is a close combat. This tells us that maybe we should save our Omega Sakamu till a later turn because the odds of us hitting a unit is not guaranteed. So we'll put Suji Ito, we'll put close combat to the bottom of our deck, and we have increased our odds because we not just look at the top 3 cards, but the top 4 cards because of this. The other way to utilize this is to look at the top card, not that one, not this one, not this one. Nope. I think my deck is stacked because it was organized. We're going to look at the top card of our deck, and let's say that we hit this card. Okay, now that we know that that card is at the top, we can now decide that, hey, we will play our Mega Sakamu because no matter what, we know we're going to guaranteed at least a 4-2. Okay, so now we reveal the top 3 cards. So you would see here, we would have whiffed on the other 2, but we guaranteed there was at least 1 hit there, so we get to play that 1 hit and get a +1 no matter what it is. So that is how you want to be using Suji Ito. It's more of a Suji basically guarantees that your other G-Quox cards work better, just like the show almost. When Suji is there, He's really not doing much, but he helps like Machu make sure that she can, I guess, kind of be confident or, do her thing. And then, yeah, let's Machu basically accelerate, rather than him killing everybody by himself. He's there to help Machu out. So that is what you should be doing with this deck. Now moving on to the future turns of level 8. Okay, you want to be saving your EX resource for sure, unless you're desperate or need to, or if you think it's going to give you such a commanding lead that you're not really worried about getting to level 8 as fast as possible. You're going to play Omega Sakamu, level 8. Now, how do you play this card? Is, well, you play it, you deal 2 damage, it gets you a +1 or hurts something really, really badly. Usually finishes off a blocker or a Freedom Gundam, or it combos off with a level 9, so you try to hold it back to level 9 to combo with a Battle Aces or a Close Combat, finishing off a Ill Strike or a Gundam Link, or 6 damage can kill off Penelope and so on. So you can hold it in combo at level 9. Besides that, though, I would play this. If you have 2 of these cards in your hand, okay, back to back, do not worry about the first one dying and let it die. If you wanted to swing with it, they'll trade into it, that's fine, because we're going to be playing multiple big units in the game. So we're going to try to basically overwhelm our opponent with big units and attacks and the threat of suppression hitting them and links, while they're running out of cards trying to keep themselves in the game. If you have Machu in your hand, Machu is a pilot that is going to be going on to your other units more so, because you need to utilize your first strike. You need to utilize Machu to draw an extra card off the top, because you saw it with Suji. You're like, oh, this was at the top of the deck. I'm going to play Machu on something else just to draw +1 to guarantee that I get to draw extra cards now. So I'm stronger and have more resources for later stages of the game. Sometimes you might have Machu, depending on how many you see in the game. If you see like 3 Machus, you can play them as you wish and then save one for the link, which is cool. But most of the time in most of my games, I don't actually get to Machu link the big G-Quux. Um, you know, maybe we'll get a different Nyan down the line, and maybe you want to play them both together to really guarantee that you link this. That's fine. In a G-Fred style deck for fun, that's fine. But in this deck in particular, you're not going to be linking this quite often. If you do have the link and you have 2 of these, what I want you to do is play the first one and do not link it. Okay, do not link the first G-Quux you play. In fact, let it sit there, let your opponent play all their cards, deal with it, and waste their turn. The second one, link the second one. One, because the first one will get all their cards out of their hand. 2, because when the first one swings and does get suppression, the second one will swing on the same turn, basically making sure that you can kind of close the game out. Because if you swing with the first one and you give your opponent a Burst Kira or Amoro or something like this, or a pilot and a base and cards, they can now find answers to kill this guy. If you hit them together with both, they might be able to deal with one of them, but then you're going to win the game on the next turn. Okay, because you're going to do so much damage to them, it doesn't matter if they get a link. They're most likely going to get the link anyways, but they cannot deal with both of these cards. If they do, they're going to basically have to double link, take out all their cards, trade with your cards. But we usually have more cards than our opponent, even if they're playing blue-white, which is very important. So that's what I do with these 2 cards here in the late game. Okay, so how, and just remember, do not, like, we're not trying to actually attack our opponent. This whole time I haven't mentioned that we're attacking our opponent's shields, because we don't want to give them cards. We want to tell our opponent, keep using the cards you have access to from your hand, and when we eventually have multiple bodies on the board and we can swing at your shields 3 or more times, then we'll attack your shields. We're not going to swing at your shields one at a time, giving you a pilot or a base and more cards to attack into our rested units and have better plays. You get what you have, and we're going to, in fact, let you also hit our shields to play our cards, gain even more value on you. So we're ultimately playing way more cards. Once we get to late game with like 2 G-Quuxes or even 1 and a couple other units around it, we're going to hit you for like 4 or 5 shields all at once, killing you on the following turn, not allowing you to stick around for like 2, 3, 4 more turns, which before we got this card, the game would go on for like, just like Gundam normally goes on for you're winning, and then you kind of get to that stalemate situation of I can only take out one shield at a time, maybe two shields with two units. Then I gotta swing again next turn with two units. Well, now we're gonna swing once, that's two shields automatically gone, and two shields automatically gone, or two and one shield, three shields. So you're on a timer with suppression. Suppression is a very powerful ability, and it does put you on a timer. And we finally have an end game boss monster in red, which is awesome, especially because it's clan and a G-Quux. So that is how you want to utilize that. Okay, against the blocker decks that have a lot of like value, allow them to hit your shields. Okay, allow them to hit your shields when you get to the stalemate situation. What that looks like is you have a Gelgoog, you have the G-Quux that summoned out a ping guy, and you have a red Gundam on the board, and you're sitting pretty happy with a board kind of like this. This is even before you play your level 7 or level 8, okay? You're like level 8, you have a close combat in your hand, okay? Don't play close combat. Don't swing at them. Allow them to either amoro you, which is the only way they can actually deal with your board and kill something, or allow them to swing and chip your shields. And what happens is all of a sudden they hit like an improved technique. Okay, they hit an improved technique and it deals 3 damage to their blocker. Now that their blocker is damaged, we can play Omega Sekamu, finish off that blocker, play close combat, kill a different blocker that was rested or was sitting around with like an ale strike with a couple HP left. We can get rid of it essentially, and now we can start swinging at their opponent's face because they just removed 2 blockers by themselves. We didn't have to do much, but it only worked because we only had a close combat in our hand and a 3 damage card. We want to get rid of more blockers, or let's say we don't even have the close combat in our hand, okay? What we're going to do is allow them to hit our shields multiple times, hitting the close combat, hitting the improved technique. And usually when this happens, they'll like swing with Amuro, they'll swing with Freedom Gundam, they'll swing with other cards, and then because in their head they think that swing with Gundam is it's not if I don't swing with Gundam, it's a waste because it's not a blocker. So they will swing with their non-blocker units, and they will activate our burst cards, which will target their blocker units, ultimately creating a path for us to go for game, for us to like attack in a certain sequencing that kills the Gundam, kills the Freedom, kills their other blockers because it's too busy trying to protect their Amuro, and then we can play our like big G-Quux to apply extra damage to the Amuro Gundam and so on. It also allows us to, if we're holding a Battle Aces in our hand, all of a sudden we activate close combat from shields. We deal 2 damage to, let's say, an Ale Strike. Then we play Battle Aces from our hand or the G-Quux. Get rid of the Yale Strike, and now we can swing because they no longer have a 5 attack power unit that can kill any of our units. So we'll attack with our 5-4, our 3-4, and our 3-3, and their Lifrits cannot kill our units, so they'll just die, right? So it creates opportunities like that. So really do utilize your shields against those blocker matchups. You're going to start to realize that, hey, I have so many shields because my opponent refuses to attack me, and number 2, I have a lot of bodies, so they need to stay defensive. And their Gundam Amuro I dealt with because I did what coach told me to, which is like don't play your cards, just hold armor, just hold close combat, battle aces, and these cards. And quickly, I just want to talk about improved technique. I want to talk about this right at the end here because it's a really, really good card, really, really powerful. Look how nice it looks right there. Hopefully my camera lighting is not horrible there, but it looks really nice. Okay, it's a really nice card. Looks really clean and flat. Okay, so improved technique is really, really powerful. And it's really powerful because we always have that problem of, hey, I hit close combat, I can't kill the Rick Dom, I can't kill the Rick Diaz. Now, improved technique can kill the Rick Diaz 1-for-1. It can finish off the Rick Dom that they've been holding off because they don't want to swing with it. They want to wait for you to block or, tap your guys and get value out of the breach. We can finish it off. On top of this, maybe not in this deck because we play a lot of 3 attack units, but in other decks, this can target Gundam Amuro, which is really powerful. This can target Gundam Amuro, it can target Lock-On, you can play Improved Technique and Battle Aces for 5 mana, get rid of Lock-On immediately, and that's really, really useful to us. So this is a very, very powerful card, and eventually in the game, once you have 2 of these in the graveyard, you can actually play this to deal 3 damage to a Freedom Gundam. Right, so they have a Freedom Gundam standing with no pilot on it because they want to save the pilot for when they're gonna give you -2 AP. So we'll play improved technique, and we'll like level 10. We can play the big G-Quacks to deal 3 damage, or we can play battle aces for 5 and finish it off. We can also play this plus like um this for 1, dealing 4 to a standing ill strike or perfect strike or launcher strike, anything like that. So it's really really nice to play that card. Improved technique is a game changer. Um, it also immediately kills Rizels, which is really nice for us because then they cannot kill our red Gundams, which is why we value the 4 HP a lot more going. Well, I always valued it the 4 HP a lot more, even on the pilots, the 2 HP on pilots was a lot stronger. So going to the next set, because improved technique now exists, because the G-Quux now exists, and Wing Gundam Zero is always going to be around, people need to stop playing the 3 HP units because even red decks will now be able to kill your 3 HP units 24/7. You play a Rizal, I improve technique it. You play another Rizal, like later into the game, because you thought it's not going to die from close combat, battle aces. Well, Omega Sakamu comes in, pings it off, kills it. You can no longer rely on your like little units from the early game to kind of come out in the late game and still be a body, because you will guarantee kill it. And so you might want to, if you're in like in a very late game scenario, just hold your Omega Sakamu in your hand if you need to, or play other cards first, hold the Omega Sakamu back, let them play the Rick Dom or something, and then play the Omega Sakamu and ping it off. One thing also against improved technique against aggro decks or against Char decks is Char's HP when he's linked adds up to 3. So all of a sudden when they link their Char, they swing at you, use improved technique, and you kill their Char link. This is a 1 for 2 all of a sudden, super powerful. Even if they're going to get a token out of it or an extra card from the Char Zaku 2 LR from the starter deck, that's fine. We still got a 1 for 2. That's as good as it gets right there. So improved technique is a super good card, and against that new high maneuver white guy from Super Block, he also adds up to 3 HP total, which basically makes him super prone to dying to improved technique. So this card is a must play. It's one of the best cards in the set, and Gundam does this thing, I think, in my opinion, where um, cards that are meant to be good get alt arts or get multiple alt arts and have like good designs or mainstream like Gundam unique design. This has Machu and G-Quux on it, right? There's a reason for that, is because this could have been anything else. This could have been like from the show, just a simple alternate art with like a battle going on. But instead, it has Machu right on the front page with G-Quux because this is a powerful card and is pushed that way. And so they want the mainstream characters to be on it. So when you collect this card, you get it. You want to play it. You want to buy multiple copies of it because it has your favorite Gundam or your favorite pilot on it. Same thing with like the new SB cards. First Contact. People hate First Contact, think it's the worst card in the game. I disagree. I play it in my wing deck all the time. It's a good card, and they must have a reason why they made a beta version of it, why they put it in a starter deck, why they reprinted it as a SP with an alternate art. Okay, and the reason for that is because just like the overflowings, the show resolves, and the pilots, it is a mainstay in the game of Gundam that might not be seeing a lot of play outside of me playing it at the current moment. But down the line, once we get maybe another wing deck or more wing support or more green cards that are not just oriented towards Xeon or Clan and Wing, we're going to see more generic green cards. Then that card might get a lot better. So I think First Contact and like cards like this is like, it's going to be really really good and mainstay in the long run. So yeah, it's a really really strong card if we're going to play red in general and Clan as well. So yeah, so again, thanks for everybody who like is listening to this. Drop a comment if you have any questions. Let me know what you guys liked and how you felt about this video in particular. I hope forgetting your name, Wiltem and your wife. I hope you guys enjoyed this and learned a lot from it, and maybe even followed along by going through the scenarios or just playing out the cards in your own afterwards and going back, rewatch again, playing the cards as I did to see how this impacts the game and how it feels, right? And just learning from that and thinking about the game differently. If you guys want coaching, anybody wants coaching, I've coached clients to go win, not win, but top regionals, second place at regionals, 11th place. Like you guys see this Bulma right here, this beautiful Bulma, Lolo Luna. treasures. If you guys are into Gundam or Dragon Ball Z, he's got the biggest like slab collection in America for Gundam and Dragon Ball Z stuff. So if you guys are interested in any of that stuff, he sells it on Whatnot and is an awesome guy. He got 11th place playing Wing at one of the regionals for Gundam, so he's gonna go to nationals. We'll see how he does. Go hang out with him. Let him know Coach sent you if you guys enjoy collectible games and enjoy Gundam hobbies and ever want to pick up certain alt arts or even regional alt arts or cards in general and enjoy the Whatnot trading card game community. Um, and then obviously Rain Knight, Rain Knight, I've been working with Rain Knight. He's been uploading videos regarding my clan deck. He took clan, did really, really well with it, won a tournament, did multiple tops, going X and 1 multiple times. Other people took the clan deck and won their new type challenges. Moving forward, I do want to say I play all the decks. I coach clients on all the decks in trading card games in particular. So the coaching is going to go not just for Gundam, but for other card games, not just for you, but trading card game knowledge overall of how to make your decks, how to have more fun playing card games, and understanding that you are making the right decisions in the game, outside the game when you're making decks, looking at decks like from Eggman or other people, understanding why that the decks that people post are either really really bad or they're doing something that is correct, and how you can improve your own decks and their decks by getting coaching and learning the ways of deck building, different philosophies, and like gaining new abilities and skills to improve your gameplay. And I've got a whole list of that and stuff. So if you guys are interested in coaching, let me know. Either drop a comment or reach out. Add me on Discord if you want. Coach Wing Zero is my Discord. Hopefully this video helps you guys and is a lot more of a more educational information video about clan turn by turn and how to play it. I'm not going to do gameplay videos because then I got to queue up, play it. I'd rather just show you guys what you should be looking for, why, and why that is like more important than just going and seeing me play the game itself. I want you guys to go practice it, play it by your own measures, and get a feel for the deck. And then, if you guys want to make adjustments, make your own adjustments here and there, as long as you understand the base philosophy and how to counter certain things and why my win rate with the deck is going to be higher than yours because I'm doing things differently, essentially. Okay, so thank you again. See you guys next time.